Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive. We're taking a close look at the Mazomani Trail.
Oh, this should be interesting.
It's in the Minnesota Valley National Wildlife Refuge.
Right southwest of the Twin Cities.
Exactly. We've got a ton of different sources for this one.
Yeah, like trail reviews,
Hiking guides.
even personal video blogs.
So we'll see if it's worth a visit, and if you do go, how to prepare.
You know what's cool? I think it's interesting how these sources, mix those hard facts with people's experiences.
Right.
It gives you the full picture.
Totally. So All Trail says it's a 5.5-mile loop,
Moderate difficulty, they say.
and best to go between March and October.
Smart thinking, avoiding that mud and those mosquitoes.
Oh, sure. And speaking of challenges, some hikers mention this washed-out road detour.
Oh, yeah, and that creek crossing where you really need your balance.
And these comments are recent,
June 2020.
and July of this year.
Wow.
Hold on, though. A washed-out road. Is that like on the trail itself?
Well, it sounds like it
And
might
it-
be getting to the trailhead. Oh, so like accessing it.
Yeah, and it shows where you got to check the conditions.
Especially with flooding.
All Trails is good for that.
Okay.
The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service website.
Got it.
And those YouTube videos people post.
Recent ones.
It's fascinating.
Noted. So checking conditions is key,
Absolutely.
especially with those route changes or hazards.
For sure.
But okay, why are people drawn to this trail? This guide, Exploring the Mazomani Trail, talks about how pretty each season is.
It does.
But it sounds like there are some downsides too.
Totally. Like spring,
Yeah.
beautiful wildflowers,
Yeah.
wildlife coming out.
Okay.
But you might be wading through mud.
Ugh. Yeah.
Then you've got summer, all that green and shade.
I like that.
But the mosquitoes are out in full force.
Oh, I bet.
One hiker even said they were like bird-sized.
Bird-sized mosquitoes, no thank you. Regular mosquitoes are bad enough.
Yeah, so back the bug spray for sure.
Definitely will.
Then there's fall, beautiful colors.
Perfect for pictures.
Hopefully fewer bugs too.
Fingers crossed.
And then winter, it's totally peaceful,
Oh.
covered in snow
You could snowshoe.
or cross-country ski.
That sounds amazing.
It does.
Okay, so I'm getting a sense of when to go.
Good.
But what about landmarks? I've heard about Jab's Farm.
Oh yeah, Jab's Farm. It's this old homestead.
Oh, cool.
3 buildings made from sandstone.
Wow.
That Taylor Explorers guy, he said it was like seeing this family that lived there forever.
Ah,
Longer than anyone, he said, except maybe the Indians.
that's crazy. I can picture those buildings just sitting there.
Yeah, nature taking over.
Exactly.
And then there's this giant boulder on the trail.
What?
Huge.
How'd it get there?
Glaciers, thousands of years ago.
Oh, a glacial erratic?
Yeah.
That's wild. So we've got old homesteads and giant boulders.
Right.
What about this Louisville swamp I keep seeing?
Oh, Louisville Swamp. It's massive.
Right.
Adds a whole other dimension to the trail.
I bet.
Probably tons of wildlife.
I love swamps.
Yeah, they're important, you know.
Right. Okay, so lots to see.
For sure.
But what about those challenges we talked about? That bridge near Jab's Farm sounds like a problem.
It does. Yeah. A lot of people say it's been out for a while.
Including Chad Smith in his video blog.
Him too. And they say it's basically impassable.
Impassable. Yikes. Do we know if they'll fix it?
That's a good question. And it makes you think about how they maintain the whole trail.
Right.
Is it just temporary or are they neglecting it?
Good point.
It's something to think about when you're planning.
So bridge status is up in the air.
Pretty much.
Can people go around it?
Seems like some have,
Oh, okay.
but it's definitely harder.
And maybe not for everyone.
Right. And then there's the flooding.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Minnesota gets a lot of rain, especially in spring.
True.
But the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service website has updates on that.
Like closures and stuff.
Yeah,
Okay, so another thing to check before you go.
definitely.
Seems like being prepared is super important for this trail.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of which, I read it might not be for everyone.
Oh, yeah. There was this event listing for a beginner hike,
Oh.
and they said it might not be great for strollers or wheelchairs,
Oh, that's too bad.
especially depending on the conditions.
It's a shame when people can't enjoy nature because of accessibility.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder how we make trails accessible for everyone
Right.
while still keeping them natural.
It's a tough one.
Totally. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about those YouTube videos.
Oh, yeah. They're great.
They really make it feel real.
Like when Taylor Explorers crossed that frozen river.
Yeah.
Got his shoes soaked.
Oh, no.
And then broke a tree branch by accident.
That's hilarious.
His reaction was the best.
I bet. It sounds like he had an adventure.
He did.
It reminds me of this one time. I was hiking and I totally misjudged the mud.
Oh, no.
My shoes were a disaster.
I bet.
I look like I'd wrestled a mud monster.
Oh, man.
Not my best look.
But those are the moments you remember.
You're right about that.
Like in Chad Smith's video, remember he was bummed about the flooding. But then he saw how green everything was and that blue sky.
And his mood totally changed.
Yeah, it's amazing how nature can do that.
Totally. From frustrated to happy, just like that.
Exactly.
It's all part of it, you know?
It is.
Hearing these stories makes me realize it's not just about hiking.
Right.
It's about connecting with nature.
Exactly. And that reminds me, the Mazomani Trail, it's not on its own.
What do you mean?
It's part of something bigger, the Minnesota River Valley.
Right. So there's more to explore.
Exactly. You could go fishing in the river.
Oh, yeah.
Try to spot some of those 200 bird species.
Wow.
Or even visit the town of Jordan
Okay, so like a starting point.
for a whole River Valley adventure.
I like that. Okay, so we've talked about the beauty of the trail,
Yeah.
the landmarks, the challenges, personal experiences.
It's been a lot.
It has. What are the big takeaways for our listeners? What do they need to know before they go?
Well, Mazomani Trail, it's a really immersive experience.
Okay.
Lots of different landscapes, and you can connect with history.
Human and natural.
Right, but you got to be prepared.
For sure.
Check the conditions before you go.
Okay.
Especially with flooding detours, that bridge situation.
And don't forget about those bird-sized mosquitoes.
Oh yeah, pack that bug spray.
Seriously. And what about packing for different seasons?
Good point. Spring, you'll want waterproof boots.
Right.
Summer, definitely bug spray.
Got it.
Winter layers, and maybe snowshoes.
Okay, so be prepared for the weather, watch out for obstacles,
Yeah,
and check those conditions.
definitely anything else.
I think we covered the practical stuff.
Oh, there's one more thing.
Okay, what's that?
Remember that bridge issue and the accessibility concerns?
Yeah.
It makes you think, how do we make trails accessible for everyone,
Right.
but also preserve nature?
That's a good point.
It's something to think about when you're planning any trip.
So it's not just about this trail.
Right, it's bigger than that.
Do we want paved paths and easy access?
Or do we want things to be more rugged and natural?
It's tough. There's no easy answer.
Exactly, and it makes you think about even more.
Like what?
Conservation accessibility, the future of these outdoor spaces.
Oh! So our listeners are walking away with more than just trail info. They're thinking about their relationship with nature.
And how to experience it responsibly.
Well said. This trail, any outdoor experience really,
Yeah,
it can make you think about these bigger things.
it's true.
It's not just about how far you hike.
It's about connecting with nature and yourself.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive on the Mazomani Trail,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
I hope they feel inspired to explore this trail,
Yeah.
but to be aware and respectful too.
But
It's a beautiful trail, but it can be tough.
for sure.
Be prepared for anything, but also think about those bigger questions.
About accessibility.
Conservation, our connection to nature.
I love that this trail or any trail,
Uh-huh.
it can make you think about these things.
Absolutely.
It's not just about the mile.
Right, it's about something more.
Well said. And who knows, maybe this will inspire our listeners.
Yeah.
Have their own adventure.
On the Mazomani Trail or somewhere else?
Exactly. Until next time, happy trails, everyone. Makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does.
How do we balance making trails accessible but also keep them natural?
It's a conversation we need to have for sure, especially now.
Right. More and more people want to get outdoors.
Exactly. And maybe those conversations will lead to some cool solutions.
Like, what do you think?
Well, maybe there are ways to make certain parts of a trail more accessible,
Okay.
but without changing the natural beauty.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right. That's a challenge.
it is, but I think we could figure it out.
I hope so. And, it's not just about physical accessibility.
No,
It's about making everyone feel welcome.
like they belong.
Exactly. That's important to me.
And two, nature should be for everyone.
No matter who they are or their abilities.
Exactly.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive on the Mazomani Trail, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from all this?
Well, I hope they want to go check out the trail,
Of course.
but also to be aware and respectful.
Right?
It's a beautiful trail,
Yeah.
but it's got its challenges.
Definitely.
So be prepared for anything.
Yeah.
But I also hope they think about those bigger questions.
As we talked about.
Yeah, like accessibility, conservation, our connection to nature.
I love that this trail, or any trail really,
Yeah,
it can make you think about those things.
it really can.
It's not just about the miles you hike.
It's about the connection you make.
With nature, with yourself.
Exactly.
And who knows, maybe this deep dive will inspire some people
I hope so.
to have their own adventures.
On the Mazomani Trail or somewhere totally different.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for today's deep dive.
It's been fun.
It has. Thanks for joining me, and thanks to all our listeners.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
We'll see you next time. Happy trails.
That's it.